The Whitney parcel, as we have reported recently on Story of the Day, is a big deal in the Adirondacks. One of the largest private holdings in the park, very remote wilderness, lots of beautiful lakes. Environmentalists wanted the state to buy it, but instead a developer from Texas is. But here's the twist. The money from the sale, more than $100 million, is going to one tiny town in the central Adirondacks. How Long Lake plans to manage its windfall on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now offering specialized home medical equipment and supplies. Learn more at kinneyhomecare.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, June 10th. First up, federal immigration agents raided 2 nail salons in Potsdam today as part of what the St. Lawrence County Sheriff called a victim-centered investigation. Eyewitness Jane Lammers was going into the UPS store in Potsdam when she saw law enforcement activity at the Paint Lab nail salon next door.
The people were armed, but they were not wearing uniforms per se. And I know the cars that I saw did not have any identifying marks on them.
Photos show a county sheriff's vehicle was there as well. The sheriff's office said it was working in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security investigations team at several locations around the county. An ICE spokesman said in an email the agency doesn't comment on ongoing operations and investigations, quote, for the safety of our personnel. Eyewitnesses also saw signs of agents at a private home in Colton today. Leanne Knight said she was driving home when she passed multiple vehicles outside a house.
I saw a sheriff's car in the driveway. I saw a pickup truck by the side of the road. And then I saw several sedans that, are not distinguishable. 10 to 12 cars are in this driveway.
The apparent raids in St. Lawrence County come amidst an increase in ICE activity nationwide. President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown is entering a new phase. Officials have promised more workplace raids and detentions. North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik was in Albany yesterday defending President Trump's legislative agenda. Meanwhile, Democratic state lawmakers say the president's policies will hurt New Yorkers, including many here in Stefanik's North Country district. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
Congressmember Elise Stefanik argues a fiscal package pending in Washington will decrease taxes for New Yorkers.
It extends the Trump tax cuts. It expands the child tax credit. It makes school choice available for families, which is a pro-parent policy, not just Republicans, but independents and Democrats as well.
The Republican from northern New York brushed aside other impacts of the legislation, including billions of dollars in estimated Medicaid cuts. She says the bill would remove non-citizens from state-supported health insurance, but strengthen it for others. Hospitals in New York estimate the measure would take insurance away from around 225,000 immigrants. The New York State Health Department estimates the bill would take almost $14 billion out of the Medicaid program. Democratic Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins says the system needs that funding.
These cuts would devastate safety net hospitals, especially in rural and low-income communities, pushing many to the brink of closure.
The bill in Washington is being amended in the U.S. Senate. Stefanik's trip to Albany comes as she considers a run for governor in 2026. She says she'll make a decision in the coming months. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
A tiny town in the Adirondacks appears to have won the lottery. Long Lake is set to inherit the proceeds from the sale of the Whitney estate, which is valued at $125 million. Emily Russell went to Long Lake to figure out what the massive windfall will mean for the town.
Clay Arsenault was on a Zoom call in late February when he got the news about the Whitney estate. Arsenault is the town supervisor of Long Lake. The town had been named the sole beneficiary of the proceeds from the sale of the 36,000-acre property that had been owned by Mary Lou Whitney and her husband, John Hendrickson. It was on the market for $125 million.
I was speechless. Speechless and in awe of the generosity of the Whitney family and the Hendrickson family.
The Whitneys were one of the wealthiest families in America during the Gilded Age, and they were well-known benefactors in Long Lake. Their names are on the library and the medical center. A developer from Texas now plans to buy the 36,000-acre property in Long Lake. So Arsenault is working with a team of officials and advisors on how to invest and maximize the proceeds from the sale.
We want to create generational wealth within the community. So it makes me truly excited for the future of my hometown.
Arsenault says they're working right now on the governance structure of how the town plans to manage the money. Long Lake survives off the summer months, when second homeowners come to play and unwind, and to spend money. Just down the road from the town offices is the Long Lake Diner. That's where I meet Paula O'Brien Perino. She owns the diner with her husband. They're closed today, so she's perched at the bar with her planner out. O'Brien Perino was at the town board meeting when the supervisor broke the news.
It kind of felt like Christmas on steroids.
As a business owner, O'Brien Perino knows how difficult it can be to balance the ups and downs of this tourist town economy. She's also the local fire commissioner, so she hopes the town will use some of the money for emergency services. O'Brien Perino says Long Lake has endured a lot lately.
So we've been through some pretty heavy stuff over the last few years, before COVID and during COVID, and the floods and the fires, and this will help raise the morale of this community, I think.
It's unclear what the net proceeds of the property sale will be, but O'Brien Perino says she thinks the money could make a real difference in Long Lake.
We do live in the middle of paradise, but it is expensive to live here. A person moving to the Adirondack Park fresh out of college can't afford to build a home here.
Land is expensive, and good-paying jobs here are hard to find. Long Lake faces other struggles, too, like declining school enrollment and an aging population. It's that last issue that Barbara Kinsey is focused on. Kinsey, who owns a local cafe, wants to see Long Lake invest in a community health and fitness center.
When I think with my husband, should I settle here into my retirement, I think, well, I have to go this so many miles to a hospital, this so many miles for therapy, this so many, like, you have to travel.
Along with tackling some community projects, Kinsey hopes the town can manage the money in a sustainable, long-term way. Plus, she hopes the gift from the Whitney estate inspires other wealthy landowners to do the same.
I hope people that enjoy different communities and have their homes on different lakes, and people that have excess, and I hope it really does become a trend.
But of course, with a lot of money comes a lot of potential for problems, like infighting and mismanagement and just change. Many folks who live in Long Lake love how quiet and remote it is. They like knowing their neighbors and seeing the same faces at the local bar. Some of the folks I talked to are worried that tens of millions of dollars could change some of that. Carol Young says those are real concerns, but she's hopeful about her town's future. Young has lived in Long Lake for more than 50 years, and she manages one of the oldest businesses in town, the Adirondack Hotel.
I mean, one of the things that guests will say to me, oh my gosh, I haven't been here in 35 years, and it's just exactly how I remember it. And I think that's important for small towns, especially we're a tourist town.
As we chat, her staff is preparing for the tourist season, putting a fresh coat of paint on the porch. Mary Lou Whitney and John Hendrickson came to the hotel from time to time. Young knew them and says while the news of their estate was wonderful, it wasn't exactly shocking.
It's what people like that do for things that they love, and they loved Long Lake. And so our responsibility is to make sure that that wish is guarded into perpetuity so that, as I like to put it as an accountant, the nut stays.
It could be a year or more before Long Lake sees its potential $100 million nut. The years that follow will likely decide the fate of this small Adirondack town. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Long Lake.
There's some very nice photos from Long Lake, the people that Emily spoke to in her story. Check it out at ncpr.org. We have more news there all the time as well. Music today by Christopher Watts of Canton and Ben Sharon of Watertown. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.